pretty informal today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about SPI, just because some people aren't really familiar with us and where we came from, this interloper in your town. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do at the site. I've got kind of a perspective plan, so you can kind of see the site plan. And then we'll be open to questions, because I want to know what you guys want to know. So I'll tell you what I can. So SPI began in 1949. Red Emerson and his dad, Curly Emerson, bought a mill over in the Humboldt County region of Northern California. And back in those days, they got all their timber from national forest lands. They were still family owned. We're third or fourth generation now, because we just signed on our fifth grandson. So Red has 7 grandsons, and 5 of them now come to work. As of this last month, 2 more signed on. So we've got 5 grandsons in. So we're looking at the next generation being very well prepared. Red's sons run the company now. Red's still active though. Let me tell you, when we start building the mill, he's a total mill geek. So he'll be here in oily coveralls and the whole bit, wrenching on stuff. But his sons run the day-to-day operation, and his daughter runs the foundation that we'll talk about in a minute. So Red kind of saw the writing on the wall about getting timber from the national forest land, so he started buying timberland about the same time he started building more mills. So right now we're mostly in California and Washington. We started in California. We've got about 14 mills on 11 sites throughout California and Washington. We've got about 1.6 million acres of forest land in California, and we just increased up to 280,000 acres in Washington. We just completed a purchase of the Murray Pacific land over in East Lewis County. So we're really looking that all future expansion for the business will be in Washington. These mills up here have been highly successful and run their business here. It's really where we look at. The one thing we added in 2014 is we bought 2 window manufacturing companies in Michigan. So we have a third bunch of stuff in Michigan, which is, I don't have a map of there, because it's just 2 towns with manufacturing facilities, but so we're now in 3 states, so Michigan. One of the things that the company really did, besides acquiring forest land, is they wanted to be vertically integrated. So the first thing we do, as I mentioned with the forest land, is we grow trees. We grow and harvest trees. So we're SFI certified, just like 55 million other acres in California. So this third party comes in and makes sure we're doing everything sustainably. All of our mills are certified to track both SFI and FSC certified wood, so we can do all sorts of stuff with that. We've got, I should go back. So the forest land in California you'll see is in 2 big blocks. The Hamilton Tree Farm goes from the Canadian border down to about Darrington in little blocks like that, it's the blue. And the bigger tree farm, the 80,000, there's 120,000 acres up there, and then 80,000 acres right around Riderwood. You see that exit, South Lewis County, Northern Cowles County, and then we just purchased about 58,000 acres out by Morton Mineral. So that's kind of where the land is. So first we grow the trees. Then we like to make them into stuff. So the first thing, and what we're most well known for probably, is our sawmills. These are pictures from different Burlington sawmill. Mostly it's one of the newer ones we have up here. Very high tech. What you're going to find when you see this mill is it's going to be, everything's laser guided. We wrote our own programs to make sure we get best use of the wood. There's old stories out there that show you that like 30 to 50% of the fiber was wasted back in the early 1900s of what was actually cut down. And now we virtually use 99.9% of the fiber. Because it's not only better use of the trees by using laser to figure out how to do it, but there's also every chip is used for something. We sell chips, we sell bark, we sell, the sawdust that's wiped up off floors is put into conveyor belts and it goes in and it's burned for power. So virtually every single piece of wood is used for something. The nice thing is we write all these programs ourselves, so we can actually even day by day change them. We can even put market factors in there. So if 2x4s are going for way more money right now, there's a big demand out there, that's actually factored into that program to figure out what's the best use of that wood. So that's why these mills are so efficient, and I think sometimes while we're expanding, while some other companies aren't doing as well. We also have laser-guided grading systems, so we can go through and they can actually mark each board to say how it's graded, so you can, again, get the best use of your wood. The grading systems can also say, this will do better if you cut this end off, because this end is going to be a higher grade, and this end can be used on a lower grade, so it can do all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really cool. This is actually, the grading system isn't written by us, that's actually a third-party system. So in Washington, we have 3 mills currently operating. We have Burlington, we started with Aberdeen in 2001. In 2005-06, we bought Centralia Sawmill and redid it, and from a company that was going under. And then about the same time, we bought Burlington. The Burlington mill, just to let you know how fast we can build a mill, from start to finish was about 13 months. So if we can get our permits going, we can get a mill up and running and highly efficient pretty quickly. We have well over 600 employees now. That's a little bit old. And they're living wage jobs with profit sharing with 401k. I can tell you it's a fun company to work for. I mean, you work hard, but they're very fair and fun to work for, and something new every day. So it's really lots of good upward mobility too. A lot of our employees start, in fact, our mill managers now are, we did a presentation for all the employees, and every single one of the mill managers in our system, almost, I think there was one exception, started either pulling weeds, washing trucks, or pulling ring chains. So, and they've got pretty high up positions right now. We say that if you want to be promoted and aren't promoted within 6 months, that we've failed. So there's a lot of upward mobility in the company. So after we make lumber and other things, then we try to do other stuff with it. So I'll just show you some of the other facilities. We like to call it vertical integration. We like to do stuff. So down in California, we have a cedar fencing plant. We sell a lot of byproducts. There's been times with the lumber market that sometimes I think our byproducts make us more money than our other stuff. But we do soil amendments, we do bark, we do also, and there's a facility down in California that does that specifically. We're really actually in the building trade pretty much known for our millwork. We're one of the top millwork producers in the nation. We've got 3 facilities down in California. We make millwork for other window companies and all this kind of stuff. And then we're getting larger in the windows and doors. The acquiring Hurd helped a lot, but we're really well known for wood-clad windows, high-end windows. Most of them are custom. And then with the acquisition of Hurd, we actually also added vinyl windows to our product line. So again, it's a good way to use our products once we start. So besides our products, one of the Emersons, I think one of the things they're most proud of is the foundation that their mother started back in the 50s or 60s. They have 2 main functions. The first one, I think, which is the one that's closest to their heart, is they give out scholarships to all employees' children that want to go to college. And so they've been giving over $500,000 a year, every year, to employees' kids. They're renewable scholarships for up to 4 to 5 years. The average award is between $2,500 and $3,000 a year. So it's a nice little benefit of being an employee. This year we actually, and I like to take part in this, because one of the goals they gave me when I started was to increase the scholarships given in Washington. And we gave out 5 times as much money in Washington. That's where I came from, was a university, so I'm really into that scholarship stuff. So yeah, the other half of it is community foundation grants. They're for community improvement. It's pretty open. Pretty much anything but scholarships, because we have our own scholarship program. If it improves the community, you can make a good argument. There's everything from $100 awards to bigger ones. I mean, they've been in the writing market now for 60 or 70 years, so they actually gave $1 million to them up there. I will tell you that isn't the normal award. The normal award is closer to the $2,000 mark, but once we get up and going here, we'll be active in that market. And so it's one of the things, again, the Emersons are really proud of. So that's the picture of the old Simpson and OPP property. OPP is still there, of course, and running. Doing great. And so we plan to open in 2017. We're hoping for mid-2017. That's the goal. We've been working really hard with the city, with the Department of Ecology, with Fish and Wildlife, with the Corps of Engineers, with ORCA, with, who else have I talked to? So with a lot of agencies, a lot of people have a lot of, so we are right now, we've already been issued our demolition CEPA. We decided to phase the environmental process. So we were issued one for the demolition. And in fact, half of the kilns on the property are being demolished as we speak, if they're not already down. The rest of it will wait. We'll be having an auction for the equipment on this site later in October, around October 21st, 22nd. Once the equipment's removed, all the people get about 60 to 90 days to remove the equipment. So once it's removed, we'll start demolishing some of the other buildings on the waterfront site. Of course, the rest of the buildings OPP is using and creating their products. So after they're done, which I think sometime in 2017, we'll do that. 2016, I'm sorry, yeah, 2016. I did see someone from OPP here, didn't I? Anyway, you didn't know you were running until 2017. So anyway, it's 2016, so whenever they're in, and they're currently using the boiler and some of the kilns, we left some of the kilns to run off excess steam, so that'll still stay on the property during that time period. The Johns Prairie site and the Mill 5 site will have an auction in November, and then those will be vacated, but that, we didn't buy that property, so that's not ours, but that'll get that port property open. So here it is, da-da-da. So if you see that the gray underneath is the buildings that are there now, and this is kind of overlaid over the top. So the one thing I'm really excited about was the original plan was to build a sawmill and planer, and then once that was up and running, we built a second sawmill and planer on the same site. Maybe do one as a stud mill and one as a fully dimensional mill. They're so excited about the wood supply here and being a business here. There's actually 2 sawmill lines and 2 planers in that building, in the blue building there. It's about 160,000 square feet. It's about 55 feet tall, so it's a little bit shorter than the current buildings out there. And then the red area in the back corner there, that's, so I guess I should orient you. On the bottom of the screen over there, that's Goldsboro Creek, that's Shelton Creek area, that's the waterfront. You guys know the area better than I do, so. Anyway, that red outlined area will be a log deck, and it's going to be done by machine rather than portal crane, so the maximum log deck height will be about 30 feet. The trucks will all be coming in and going on that side. The greens are the new kilns that will be going there. The existing buildings that we're going to use are the boiler, which is about halfway up that light blue line. The current boiler, we're going to keep that. And the truck shop that's down by the roundhouse, we're going to keep that and use that as our truck shop and maintenance shop. And right now, the crane out there that's for log put out, we're going to leave that where it is. We probably won't be using it anyway for right now, so we'll make a decision on that later. So right now, it looks like most of this first phase of building is all going to be on in this one side of Goldsboro Creek, which will make it really efficient. Doesn't have to go over the creek, which is nice. So the shipping, one of the things I get asked a lot is about the truck traffic. We offered right off the bat to reduce truck traffic on Railroad Avenue. One way is that 80% of our shipping goes out by rail, so automatically that's a lot more than Simpson ever used to do rail, so that'll take care of a big part of it. We also won't have lumber tracks going up and back to Dayton because we're not going to have lumber being produced up there. And we also decided to make all of our truck traffic come in on down below rather than, even if they're coming from work, we're going to have them come around. So if it's coming in on Railroad Avenue, unless there's some kind of huge traffic problem or something, we may have to use it as an emergency route. So the truck traffic should be greatly reduced. We plan on doing about 500 million board feet a year. So it's, our other mills right now do about 1.3 million a day during the workday. We only work on weekdays mostly, so that'll be about double that. So we're pretty excited. I'm really excited that they want to make the investment to put in 2 mills right off the bat. So I think that really shows. So we're excited to get moving, and I guess I'll take questions. I'll leave this picture up because it's so exciting.
So if you're doing 2 mills and that wasn't in your original plan, is that more jobs or is it still?
Yeah, we've always been saying we started around 170. I actually think it's going to be closer to 200. Okay. So yeah,
good.
And we'll have a truck shop there, and that might put it over that. So, and of course, there's room for future expansion too. So we're hoping this takes off. You've got a really good wood basket here, so there's no reason that this can't increase. We've got room. So yeah.
What are the harder types of employees to place? What skill sets are you looking for?
Basically, those traditional millwrights, electricians. I mean, our kids don't learn that in school anymore very much. You know, they don't get it. So welders, millwrights, electricians, saw filers is a lost art. No one does that anymore. So we've ended up having to do a lot of training ourselves. But you have a dedicated workforce here already. So that's one of the exciting things about getting started is you have those here. We've actually hired 2 Simpson employees at our other mills so far. We haven't had very many apply, or I guess we're a little too far away, but we've already hired 2, so. Yeah, sure.
Does SPI float logs?
We do float logs. We don't anticipate doing it here very much. It'd have to be where we were really having trouble getting logs before we would do it here. We do a little bit in Burlington. They bring them in from Canada. So we have done it. We may do it, but we don't do it very much.
So there's a curiosity that I hear. Well, the Dayton mill was, another mill site that was in downtown, town. And so why waterfront is big.
So the question is why the waterfront? It's access to the transportation system. I mean, basically, yeah, to the real rail, not the Simpson rail. So, so yeah, it's access to transportation, and it's a mill site, it's a working waterfront. You guys are a mill town, it's a fabulous place for someone to do business.
Are you starting to work with Olympic College at this time, so you can start developing for those kids that are coming out of high school?
I've definitely talked to her, is she here? Well, I can't remember the name now. Yeah, but we haven't done anything specific, but we've talked about me touring, us talking about it, and looking at what kind of skills would be available, yeah. But I'm telling people right now, everybody has to know computer skills. Our millwrights have to program machines, so that would be a good start. Our old millwrights have learned how to code, so. Any other questions?
Lisa?
Oh, sorry.
So, to the extent possible, can you comment on how the permitting is going and if you see any obstacles or roadblocks to that? What's the toughest part?
It's going great, actually. I mean, we've got a really aggressive schedule to get this up and going by 2017. And so every time something looks like it's going to be a holdup, we just start going, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? But the city's working hard to make sure that happens. Lynn's been helping us out. Someone from the governor's office has actually been checking in with the Department of Ecology and stuff to make sure everything's moving. That's the whole thing, is keep it moving. Don't let it sit there because someone's on vacation. Because if you start putting us back 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, it's because we want to do it right. We're not trying to do anything outside the system or anything like that. So we want to do it right. But if you're just going to sit on it and hold us up, that's a bad thing. So, but we have not found that in Shelton at all. Everybody's been right on top of it. It's been great. So there's always lots of questions, and so there's always what we call high-risk opportunities in the schedule. So we don't like those. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys have an office here in Shelton yet?
Yep, we're in the admin building, 421 South Shelton. It only took 3 weeks to get that address because they've never used that address. So yeah, so if you go to the end of Front Street, we're the admin building. Yeah.
Oh,
in fact, if you'll notice, both Tracy and Mike, when I first met with them, said they wanted everything cleaned up. So we've already painted the building, we've already done the landscaping.
Wow.
So
And what about the demolition opportunities for employment and folks?
right, the only demolition project they've done right now is those mills, and it's a very small project. And somebody actually who wanted the kilns came in and did it. So once it's a bigger project, one of the things we're telling whatever contractor is to try and get those posted. But like I said, it's going to be after the auction now, so it's probably not till the first of the year to have any big demolition done. Yeah.
So I know that there was a plan and a site in Fredericks and where you were going to build a mill. So what is the status on that?
We agreed to wait on that site, even though it's already got its SEPA and grading permits. I could go with a bulldozer out there right this minute. But we agreed to wait on that one until this one was completed to try and get the jobs back here. So that was part of the deal
That
with
still
Simpson.
might be built someday.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that was the purchase of the land in the East Louis County was the wood basket for that mill. So I absolutely, which again opens up a bunch of promotion potentials for anyone who works for us. Because every time we do this, everybody moves around and then we fill in. So there's promotion potential everywhere. So like I said, we like doing business in Washington.
You know, one other thing I might just mention to the group here, it's interesting to me that, you know, when hearing the downside of Simpson, you know, closing the mills and all the jobs and layoffs that took place, you know, we're a wood products business here in Mason County, and we have not received one application from a Simpson employee. And you made the statement that you haven't hired any past employees from Simpson at your other mills. It's kind of surprising to me.
Well, we're at least 45 minutes away at the shortest. So if you want to stay in town, it would be a tougher commute. So, and again, if there's some way you can wait it out, we're going to have jobs. So I hope that's what the reason is.
I think I've heard some tell me directly that they're receiving benefits and education as being displaced employees, and they plan on just using that until this mill gets going, and then they can just go back to work in the mill.
It's a great opportunity to update your skills. I don't blame them either. I went back to school at 40 and got my teaching credential. It was really fun.
Jay,
Any thoughts on cogeneration at this site?
We have no plans to do a cogeneration at this site. We have the boiler. The power market really doesn't make much sense for it right now, I mean, unless there's some big major change. We have cogenerations at both Burlington and Aberdeen, so it's not like we wouldn't ever think of it, but we have no plans for it right now.
anyone else?
Is this good or bad that you have no more questions? So, CenturyLink tried to put our phones in and put the wrong kind of switch, and for some reason it hasn't been fixed yet. So I'm not giving out the local phone number because it's unanswerable at this point. So what you have there is my office number. And let me give you, in fact, I thought I changed it to my cell. If you take the last 4 numbers and turn them to 9545, that's my cell phone number. And I can hunt down someone on the site to answer your question if I can't answer it myself. We're trying to we have, like I said, we have a brand new environmental manager that got hired, that's living, just bought a house, I think, in the area, and he and his wife. So we're starting to move in, so we're pretty excited. Yeah, sure.
Let me invite the environmental manager to come on our environmentally sound.
Jerry likes to invite people places. I've learned this.
We're just throwing out welcome.
Thank you. And please, if you hear anything you don't think sounds right, you guys might not know this, but you have a pretty active rumor mill here. I know. So if I can answer a question, I will, and I'll tell you. So, yeah, in the back.
I just have one question. I've been involved with Shelton since the last century, and we're always looking for waterfront for the public to access because that is a draw card to downtown. I'm 5th generation Olympian. I saw how when the mills left there, it turned into a great area for people to come into, even though the port still uses it. You know, it's a real nice mix. Is there any chance that you guys could open up the waterfront for public access so we could have some parks there to maybe buffer the industrial and the water? We're crying for it in this community.
So I'll tell you that industrial and public access to waterfront don't mix very well, especially the kind of manufacturing we do. However, we're talking to the Squaxin tribe. They're looking at some estuary projects, and I know the property between the marina and us on that upper hill, that there's a waterfront access portion to that if it gets to phase 4. There's some other edge of us, so right along our industrial thing, I would say no, but that doesn't mean we can't look at stuff around the edges and work with whoever has good ideas that can be done safely.
How could we as a community be involved in that work process to get something moved?
I would say once we have an up and running mill, then keep my phone number, or you can call me now, but we're going to be way more open to that once we don't want to get distracted getting our going, right? But once that is, let's have conversations. Because we are very open, we're very community minded. I just, it needs to be safe and it needs to make sense. So that's the big thing, but I like waterfront access. So yeah, we already talked to the tribe and everything they're looking at. We'll work with what we have. You know, we'll have to do some fencing and things like that, but it'll work. So we're very open to that. Yeah.
Tagging on to that, how about public access to the mill? Tours?
We'll be doing tours, yeah.
Allow people to come through?
Yep, and that'll be me. So I mean, my guys and stuff will be giving the tours, but I'll be setting them up, so yeah. And there'll be a lot of access once I have something to show you.
Well, I was thinking more about the kids, the schools.
Yep,
allowing them to
There's
come
no
through
better
and
way to
see
get
a
future
mill.
mill employees than help kids walk through the mill.
Very good.
Yeah. In fact, this mill manager, when I first started, I worked for 3 different mill managers and an area manager. That's who I work for. And this mill manager that got transferred up here, the first thing he told me, he says, I want every 5th, he used to be at Centralia, I want every 5th grader in Lewis County to go through this mill. So yeah, absolutely will be open.
Great.
Did you have a question, Dave?
I saw
Just a comment, the waterfront is still owned by Simpson.
Tidelands are, yeah. Mhm.
So they're still a big portion.
Yeah, and they're still here and they're still working with us on several projects, so.
And the board is Simpson, Squaxin, some other agencies are already working together on that.
Yep, and we want to be a partner in that.
Anyone else?
Really, email, phone, call me.
All right.
Thank you.